Here's a very interesting thing. Normally I don't bring back an old console to play, but because I started getting bored on my Xbox, I started like, well, shit, I still have a Sega Genesis, right? Why not play an old game on the Sega Genesis? Street Fighter. The game was really big in the 90s. It's a little bit bigger now, I think, because of the online thing. My only interesting question is, when they bring back a game, Capcom always selects the one that sells the most, yet a lot of people bought Champion Edition, yet I don't see that. Champion Edition is, unlike the other versions when at its time, basically has something called a difficulty level, which is kind of interesting. The fact is this is on 3 stars, which is this is like normal, so Zangief. His character in the original games were basically a heavy hitter. His punches, very strong. The only way to go about it normally with Ryu was the fireball method. One problem with that. I had the punch buttons, but I had no kick buttons. See, the Sega Genesis is interesting because not only does the Sega Genesis have 3 buttons, but this game, although it was a Sega Genesis game, it required 6. So here I go, dying first round again. Um, the fact is, kicks do the hurricane kick and the dragon punch. Although it's a see me doing the fireball. See, notice how the kick, it's a you can do both a mid-air kick and a low kick. Well, the fact is, I only have punches, so while he's doing that spin thing, which gets amazing reach, where my arms are small, so I can't do that. Yet my legs are really long. So the whole point about Ryu's hurricane kick was to basically counterbalance his spin arm thing. Notice how he's doing that, and I'm trying to punch him. Notice how he punched, and then I punched his punch and did damage to him. What's interesting is you don't see that now in the new games. Basically, the whole point of counterattacks is to basically deal damage to them, but ignore it. The fact is that he threw the punch first is why I did damage to him and how I ignored it. Notice him doing the sumo and me punching his sumo. Um, yeah, here's where it gets interesting. Yeah, see that? Not very difficult. And the fact that he got me in the corner was the most difficult part because he was laying it on hard at the end there. And here goes to the next battle, the most interesting of tales. After this, this was extremely fucked up. I'm sorry. I should not have gone this far with the punch button. Dal has him. He has the longest of any character, yet I magically win. The fact is, whenever you get close, he always does the fire or whatever, and that, for example, the slide. The fact is, if you haven't already noticed by all my videos, I have an amazingly abnormal high reflex. So me shooting gel in the chest in midair, me shooting a shotgun while falling and killing that one kid with the headshot, in colonies. Most of those are done amidst hyper adrenaline rush. Most people don't understand the difference between an adrenaline rush and a hyper adrenaline rush. An adrenaline rush is when someone's adrenaline kicks in, but it only increases their eyesight. It doesn't increase their motions or activities or their breathing rate. Mine's a hyper adrenaline rush. When I get into an adrenaline rush, not only does my eyes kick in, but also my motion, my reflexes, and basically everything just goes into overdrive. So you'll see me punching his me Dot doing that, for example, 24/7. Me punching his extremely quick stretch arm punch. You know what? When I was young, this always reminded me of Stretch Armstrong. Now, Stretch Armstrong was an interesting toy. See, Americans when they grew up, they actually played with dolls like GI Joes and things when I was a kid. So you can call me gay all you want, but the interesting part of this character is he reminds me of it so much I have to make fun of him because now it just makes me feel gay, so I'm gonna make fun of it rather than me. Find some solace there. Uh, this was interesting because he does the same strategy I normally do, yet the fact is I was still remembering 10-year-old controls. Note, this machine was 10 years old, so the sound actually quit at some point in time, and the port is bad in the back, so yeah, kind of expect that. And the fact is, I shouldn't have lost. I mean, won, yet I did, and you'll see why in a second once he starts doing it to me and hitting the hammer real quick. The fact that I was able to stupefy him by jumping over him at that time was the only reason why I won. Because he focused his fireball to the left, I jumped over him and then did it to him from the rear. Note, since he's pushing me into a corner, I can't really do much unless he is able to move back. Notice he moved back to the same thing and hit me again. When you move and do the fireball and the dragon punch, it does an amazing thing that forces you to jump into it. The fact that he kicked me there was most annoying because I don't have that button. Yet in the end I won, but barely. Barely. Ryu. Most commonly make fun of the whole Ryu and Ken thing. Yet the fact is I didn't fight Ken, you'll see why in a second. I may be 10 years old rusty, so forgive me for my ineptitude at the moment. But my adrenaline rush had just kicked off in that match, and now I'm getting hammered. You'll see my adrenaline rush kick in another 5 seconds because it's going to be needed. Now the difference between me and most people is when they get into adrenaline rush, it's mostly activated by a involuntary response, such as jumping off of like skydiving or bungee jumping. I get it by just allowing it to happen. Basically, what kicks in my adrenaline rush is anxiety. The ability, the fact that it's hard to explain. Because I rarely lose, I'm unable to accept loss. Yet when I do lose, eventually I realize that I did and I accept it and then I let it go. Most people are not like me. They don't come to a sudden realization like, oh, I just lost, and then be able to admit it, but here I lost, so I'm kind of fair about this. Not you'll notice he's an extremely fat fuck, yet he's surprisingly fast. This surprises me because he walks like a crab. Has the weight of like a 500-pound kid, yet thousand hand slaps like a crazy person. Note at some point in times I'll be countering his that with that, and he'll be trying to thousand hand slap me, and I'll be walking under his attacks. Yeah, that's very difficult to do. So that's courtesy of my adrenaline rush there. But then again, I die, so it wouldn't really matter, would it? Then it starts kicking in like crazy, and I'm punching his thousand hand slaps while he's slapping me. And then the fact that I'm just going crazy and punching him in mid-flight and dodging his attacks. Note that this was surprising even to me. The fact that I actually won because of that. But like all people, all adrenaline rushes actually come to an end. Mine are extremely effective, but they last within the 2 or 3 minute period. So the fact that he's starting to do this like crazy annoyed the shit out of me because I couldn't protect myself. Like that. He'll start doing it and I'll start doing the counter punch trick, which happened effectively. But it's starting to wear off, so I'm about to die and lose again. And then lose the battle. The fact is, he realized that, so he pushed himself back a little, which annoyed the shit out of me, because it would have to force me to move forward and take the blow. And that's the biggest reason why I got ticked, because, yeah, you notice he has no life bar? any punch or any kind of attack at all would have killed him.